In this episode of Crystal Uncorked, I am talking about my 2023 predictions and trends for social media and digital marketing. I have a list of 22 things we're going to talk about here, and it's going to be kind of like a rapid fire. 9, I think, are incredibly important, and the ones that use these 9 are going to win in 2023. The rest we might see with medium to larger size businesses, definitely things that might come to some small businesses, but I think are good things for you to know about. Before we dive into this episode, let's hear a message from our sponsor, me. Hey, are you a retail store owner who wants to increase your foot traffic, website traffic, sales, profitability, brand awareness? Any of those? If you said yes to any or all, then I would love to see you at my in-person marketing conference called Evolve, happening April 26th and 27th, 2023 at the Gaylord Rockies in Denver, Colorado. Join other retailers like you who really want to grow their business and have a plan for growing so it's more simple to see those results. You'll hear from keynote speakers, amazing breakout speakers, myself and my team. I would love to see you in the room. And just because you're a Crystal Uncorked listener, you can save $400 off of your ticket by using the code UNCORKED at crystalmediaco.com/evolve. That's crystalmediaco.com/evolved using the code UNCORKED, all lowercase. I hope to see you there so we can evolve your marketing, business, and life together. Are you ready to open up and talk about all things business? I'm Crystal Vilkaitis, a curious entrepreneur who loves talking about business, especially over a glass of wine. I started Crystal Uncorked to share open and honest conversations about my journey and talk to other entrepreneurs about their experiences. We pull back the curtain and talk about the highs and the lows. Wine isn't required, but is recommended. This is Crystal Uncorked. All right, so I just finished an episode with Grace, the owner of Pink Olive, who it's going to air next week. So be sure to listen. Man, she shared a lot of gold on that episode. Just such a successful business owner, has several retail store locations. I can't wait to shop in her store. She's got such great taste, and I love talking to her. I feel like we could be best friends, and I hope we do become dear friends. I had this vision as we were doing the show of her and I at dinner. Like I just could see us chatting all night. But I was drinking this wine and I'm continuing it on with this episode. This was a gift from my friend Kathy Wagner at Retail Mavens. This is a Fieldhouse. It's a cab and from Sonoma County, 2020. And it is so delicious. And it's also why my ear is so red. If you're watching this episode, I've got like a hot flash from doing the interview before and now moving on and drinking this wine. So cheers. All right, rapid fire 2023 predictions. This is what I sent over to my team. And I'm excited to share this list. So like I said, these first 9, I think are must-dos. And depending on where you are with your marketing efforts, I don't want you to feel like you have to do all 9 of these things immediately. I want you to start where you are and manage your time that most makes sense for where you are with your marketing and if you have somebody helping you or not. If somebody is helping you with your social media, I recommend that they listen to this episode too. I think you both should listen to this. So the first one, in no specific order, the first is to an increase in video usage. Video marketing has been the name of the game for several years, so this is not a new thing. I just know that we're going to continue to see a lot more brands and small businesses leverage video to connect with their customers on social media. The 2 specific video formats that I think are going to be very strong from connecting and increasing your reach and visibility is going to be short form video content. Think Instagram Reels and TikToks. That's short form video content. These are typically 90 seconds or less, but on TikTok, you can go up to 3 minutes. I think Instagram right now is only a minute or less. But these are just your powerful video within a short period of time. And this is where people's attention is being spent. It's got to be quick. Get to the point. Tell a story. Be on brand. Share what's coming. Share events. Share products. Share behind the scenes, something that's inspiring you, just connect through short form video content. You're going to see me as well as my team at Crystal Media do a lot more of these, and you should too. The other format is live video streaming. So live streaming has been around forever. I actually watched a video today from 2018 where I was being interviewed, and my tip was use Facebook Live. And in it, I was like, it's been around for 2 years. So it launched like in 2016. And ever since, it's been a strong tool. The thing that happened though, when COVID and like the shutdowns happened, a lot more people were live streaming businesses because it was their only outlet to connect in real time to their customers for the most part. And so it kind of got oversaturated in Q2 of 2020 and throughout 2020. Into 2021, people got back to like opening up in their real lives, and they weren't spending as much their real lives instead of their fake lives, the just normal life, I guess. And they weren't spending as much time on social media, and we were back to work and we had to go in the office, some people, and then these retailers were spending more time in their store. And so they weren't streaming as much. But what that means is that there's less competition streaming, and it's still a strong platform for you to connect with your audience in real time and create meaningful connection. And we are doing a live challenge right now through Crystal Media, a live 5-day Facebook or 5-day social media challenge on our Facebook page. And the connection, I mean, I had almost 60 people live with me yesterday, and it's just like they can ask questions and engage and share. And I'm having them like chat in holy guacamole if they can relate to something, and they're chatting that in. And it's this fun connection point. I got to be a part of their day. They joined me on the live. I think that's pretty special from a brand perspective and a human perspective. I think we really crave connection. And so live streaming, short form video content, the best way to connect with your retailer or to connect with your audiences in 2023. The algorithms love live video and short form video. They just love video. So that's the name of the game. All right, moving on. Oh, the last point I actually want to say to that is I don't want you to feel like it's got to be highly produced. Talking into the camera, wildly effective. You see a lot of those on TikTok. People are just talking right into the camera. It works. It's productive. Just get to the point. Be yourself. All right, moving right along. Speaking of short form video content, TikTok is up next for my trend. TikTok, it's powerful. The algorithm is powerful, especially the local algorithm. So if you have a local business, you should be posting on TikTok, and you could be talking about your store in Fort Collins or your insurance agency in Little Rock, Arkansas, or wherever you are located. And you could use your town or city hashtag and let the algorithm do the rest. It's going to deliver your content to the people who live in your town for you without paying for it. We just don't see this kind of free reach on any other platform. So if you want free reach to get in front of your customers for free, TikTok, that's where it's at. I'm a big fan of TikTok, and I'm hoping that we continue to see the kind of reach we've been seeing this year. I think it could start going down like all the platforms do. It's usually really big in the beginning, and you're like, oh, I wish I would have jumped on board. In the beginning, you still have some time. So now's the time to get into TikTok and let the algorithm work for you. The one thing too, as it relates of like trends with TikTok, is I need retailers to change their mindset about TikTok. It is not just for kids, and it's not a place where people just dance. This is a place where people are connecting with brands, connecting with people. They're learning, they're getting education. I now turn to TikTok versus turning on a show. This is my entertainment. And I have found brands, I have bought products, I have found influencers, I have learned so much. And so I just want you to change your mindset if you think that way about TikTok. It's a very powerful tool. My next prediction is that we're going to have an emphasis on personalization through segmentation. So what I mean by that is if we are segmenting our marketing, so if we have our email list and we have very simply men and women. Those are two different lists. We're segmenting the list by males and females. And then we're sending out an email communication to those people, and we are addressing the audience. So we could say, hey, we're having a ladies' night out, and we're sending that to the women audience. Another example of segmentation could be birthdays. It could be how people found you. It could be if they've been to an event or not. It could be lines that they carry. We're getting data on our customers, and so we're segmenting those lists, email addresses, text, cell phone numbers, is the list that you would own. And then we're sending out those unique personalized communications to those audiences. That's going to work a lot better amongst the noise out there. There's so much noise of people that are trying to market on social media. If you want to stand out in the inbox, on the phone, and on social, you need to segment and personalize the messaging based on who you're targeting. Another example of this is Facebook advertising. I have a Facebook ads agency. Our most successful retailers run Facebook and Instagram ads. They work. I hear that all the time. Oh, it works. People are so surprised. It does. It's one of the fastest ways to grow your business if you are investing some money through advertising. And the beauty of social ads is they have a lot of information on us, so we can get really targeted with our audiences. So that's another way that we are segmenting. So if you are reaching females who live in Fort Collins, Colorado, who are 30 to 40, to invite them to this ladies' night out Galentine's Day event, all of your creative and copy should have that woman in it. She should be able to see herself in it. You have women who are in their 30s to 40s. They're socializing. Maybe it is another Colorado event. You have a picture of the event venue so people can like visualize where it's going to be. Your copy is like, hey, Fort Collins lady, we would love to have you join us for our Galentine's event. So we're personalization through segmentation. That is nothing new. We've been doing this for a long time. It's just, I see it being more actively used and more important in 2023 because of how much marketing and noise there is online. We have to find ways to stand out, and personalization is one of those ways. My next point is prioritizing customer engagement. This is where we are focusing on meaningful engagement with our audience rather than just talking about our products and services. I think what happens to businesses is we'll sit down and we're going to post on social media or write an email, and it's just like all about us because we're marketing. But really, like, it's like we go into this salesy mode, and we don't feel creative in that moment to think of something else to do or something that's more meaningful to connect and engage. And so we just promote. Be different. Connect with your audience, engage with them, ask them questions. This is where you do the work where you really stand shoulder to shoulder to your perfect customer, and you think about that person and what they're doing right now, and where do they live, and what kind of family do they have, and what does their day-to-day look like, and what kinds of things keep them up at night. And we get really clear on who this person is, and then we create content for them. And so if this person is, really into hosting, then we might have like a video where we're just talking to the camera. It's very easy to do because we know short form video content works in 2023. Then we're just saying like, hey, do you love hosting? That's how we're starting this video. And we're like, I have 3 tips that have been a game changer for me, and I hope that you find these useful too. You're not selling your products. You're not being like, here are the 3 best, host gifts. Here are the 3 best things to have on your table. How to present the food. It's pure education. And then another video could be, what is your, leave a comment like, what is your go-to themed party? So we're just engaging the women. If that is your target audience and they follow you, they're going to be like, oh my God, I love doing. And for me, it would be blind wine tasting parties. People might have themed, murder mystery, or you have to dress up Great Gatsby, or like if they're into hosting, they're going to have an answer and they're going to love that. And they're going to respond to your social media post. And when they respond, a couple things happen. One, the algorithm loves those types of responses. It's paying attention to how social media users consume content and how they engage with content. So if people are responding to you on a story that you did, let's say, and they asked a question back or they sent you a DM from that, that activity is tracked. And that person is more likely to see what you're posting in the future because they engaged with you. So that means that they'll see more of your posts for free, which is very challenging on Facebook and Instagram. The next thing that is great is that it's meaningful connection, because then all of a sudden they're like, oh, this brand, like, I like what they're asking. Like, this is fun. And then you're posting like a beautiful image, maybe of a fun themed party you did, maybe because if that connects for you and your brand and you're able to relate to your audience. So you're posting that, and it's just building the relationship with your perfect customers. So it's meaningful. We want to focus on asking questions. We want to focus on responding when people are commenting on our posts. Give thoughtful responses back. Like, thank you. I really appreciate that. That was totally a highlight for me too. I use that because I used that recently commenting on somebody's podcast, like, have something that's a little bit more thoughtful versus just a like or love your comment, respond back. And if you have multiple people that manage your social media, have them put their name at the end of it so people know who they're talking to. We're focusing on engagement. Okay. We want to ask those questions. We want to survey our audience. We want them to be talking to us. Also, leveraging perfect, just reading my notes. And then some people are also going to focus on building communities this year. People have been focusing on this for many years, but I think we'll continue to see the community element grow, especially since organic reach is harder. Marketers are wanting to create a space where their customers live and it's easy for them to find them and connect with them. And so doing that in a sense, like a Facebook group, is one example of that. Okay, next up is a rise in personal branding with an emphasis on authenticity. So if you read a lot of the headlines for 2023 predictions, a lot of people are talking about the word authenticity, people just being uniquely themselves. And this is something we've been teaching for so many years. I mean, people buy from people we know, like, and trust. We just want to get to know the person behind the brand. And social media allows us to do that. So the ones that allow their customers to get to know them are the ones that build stronger relationships, have a more engaged audience, and sell more product. It's just when you have a person attached to the brand that's really showing up for their customer and they really understand who their customer is, so they're creating great content for them, they're winning. They're growing, they're connected, they're expanding. It's just a really beautiful relationship that you see on social media. That's something that's so cool for small businesses, is big boxes can't do that. They could hire somebody, but that person could leave. That person is just one person representing the whole brand, and it's not intimate. They usually choose like an actor and they're acting in the commercials, and you don't know anything about that person. It's just a fake made up, persona. It's not like the CEO who is like behind the scenes and talking about decisions that were made today and things they're really excited about, and here's about my family life. And I mean, imagine how much more interesting that would be if we had that for some of the brands that we love. Like, I would love to see the CEO talking more behind the scenes and personal stuff for Disney or Delta or, every winery that I drink wine from, Joel Gott and Austin Hope. Austin Hope does some of that, which is great. I love seeing him on his YouTube videos. So it's more meaningful. And we just have to make sure we're being ourselves. Sometimes we can see, our competitors or influencers or other brands that are out there and we want to be like them. But it's important to just be you, because and feel comfortable being you. Don't feel like you have to look a certain way and be a certain way and say things a certain way. I had a retailer who I really wanted her to go on Facebook Lives because she's just got a great personality and lives are working well. And she just wouldn't do it because she was afraid she would cuss. And I'm like, well, that's you. That's like authentically you. And she's like, I know, I just don't want to do it. And I get it. Like, she didn't want to cuss on her business page. And so you want a level of professionalism, right? Totally get it. She was able to kind of push through and go live and found that she could do it so without cussing. But the thing is like, I think there was an element that was holding her back because she maybe felt like she couldn't authentically be herself. And so it wasn't as meaningful. And then there's that fear of like, but what if I mess up? So we just have to be us and be comfortable in our own skin and really put ourselves out there. And I know that it can be uncomfortable and scary. And I talk about that on this show, and I'll continue to talk about it. And if you ever need like a hype girl, message me. I will hype you up. I've been there before because I get it. I totally get it. I am a speaker and I do a lot of content, and there is a lot of fear around putting ourselves out there, but you just have to be you. So for me, I do cuss. So that's why I have this show. So I have kind of an outlet for me to be a little bit more authentically me and be Crystal Uncorked. I don't cuss on Crystal Media stuff. That's just kind of how I want the brand there. But I say things like holy guacamole, and that's very unique to me. And then I have my retailers chatting that in on my Facebook Live yesterday. And they did it. They weren't like, this girl's nuts. Maybe some people are like, I'm not typing that. That's so stupid. And that's fine. Hopefully they still got value out of what I was teaching. And if they didn't, then I'm probably not a good fit for them, right? Like, it's okay. Not everybody's going to love me. Not everybody's going to love you. We just have to trust the fact that when we are authentically ourselves, the right people are going to be attracted to us. They're going to relate. They're going to connect on a deeper level and meaningful level. And that creates lifelong customers. All right. So I just see a lot more brands bringing the person forward, having that personal element and connection. And I think we're going to see a lot more training around personal branding. I think you'll see more courses out there. And it's sort of like the new social media training, but they're disguising it as personal branding. That's just my thoughts. Okay. The next up is emphasis on storytelling. I think small businesses are going to use stories more. It's my hopes. I know that if they do, they will see. This goes back to the meaningful connections, and it goes back to engaging your audience, because stories help sell. When you tell a story about why you started your business, about a childhood memory, about a customer you're working with, a customer story, we can see those things in our mind. We can visualize the whole situation because it's a story. So we see like where you are. And if you're talking about, for example, I was invited to a lunch 15 years ago, a business lunch. And at the time, I did not have a lot of money. I just started my own business, and it was like I canceled cable. I was living off of Tony's frozen pizzas. They were like $2. Like, I just did not have a lot of money. And so to drive this event that I was invited to, this lunch, was in Denver. So it was an hour away. So I had to drive down and spend the gas and pay for parking. And they waived my fee to go to, they had a training, a LinkedIn training. So I went to that training. They waived the fee, which is great. And then we go to lunch. And at the end of the lunch, I barely got to know them. They invited somebody else, and it was sort of this weird lunch. I think I've talked about this on the show. But the whole thing was like, I was really excited to connect with these people because they're pretty big LinkedIn influencers, and they invited me, and I was like, whoa, this could be a really important moment for my career. So I show up, I find the money, I go, I do it, I go to the class, and I go to the lunch, but they invited somebody else, and they're just talking to him the whole time about different bands, and it felt really weird. And then the check came, and they were like, should we split it? And I was like, sure. I'm not gonna be like, I thought you invited me to lunch, so we split it, and I got in the car and I'm headed home. I put my friend on speakerphone, and I'm driving. This is before Bluetooth was in cars. And I think I didn't have it. And I call my friend Julie, and I'm like, I just was at the worst lunch of my life. And that was such a waste of time. And fast forward, and that lunch led to my career today, working with retailers, because the people they introduced me to, they introduced me to a client. I picked up that client. It was a good client. That client was being mentored by a man named Ted Teal, who was starting a company called Snap Retail. And he connected me and Ted essentially bought out that business that I had, and I joined their team working with retailers. I just told you a story. Could you film that? Could you see parts of my story as I was talking about it? Driving in the car down to Denver. I'm in the class. I'm at this weird lunch. There's another person there. The check comes. I get back in my car and I'm driving. You could film it. You'll remember that. You might remember that story better than anything else that I talk about in this episode, because it was a story. So I want brands and small businesses to tell more stories on their social media, because it's memorable and it's what's going to have us connect more with you. And they're going to come into your business and be like, oh, you told that story about your son. That happened to my daughter. Like it's this connection point and it's memorable. So that is my 7th point. My 6th, I'm going backwards. That was my 6th point. My 7th point is emphasis on social commerce. Social media platforms are allowing people to sell through easier than ever. We're going to see more of that this year too. TikTok's going to have a lot more features that are coming out. So you could do live selling on TikTok. TikTok is creating fulfillment centers. That's how powerful people are selling products on TikTok. Like they're becoming a competitor to Amazon. Let that settle in for a second. Like that's a pretty big deal. So you will have brands who are going to be live selling through TikTok. And these are people. They're building a connection. It's kind of like QVC through the phone. So your Instagram shop, your Facebook shop, if you are somebody who sells physical goods, this is the year, if you don't have it already, to make sure that your shops are set up, your catalogs are synced, everything is automatically updating on these. So your inventory is showing on your shops. And then when you're posting content, not all the content, but some of your content is going to be promotional, and you're going to be tagging your products where people can click right on that tag and go and buy it on Instagram or buy it on Facebook. Making it really easy. Pinterest has some really great shopability too. So we're just going to see a rise in that, especially on TikTok. And I think because TikTok's going so hard, we're going to see more shopping tools, e-commerce tools for marketers on Facebook and Instagram as well. Number 8 is emphasis on real-time marketing. We will see more people, brands, in the moment, taking a picture and posting it online. And this is because of newer features and apps like Be Real and TikTok Now. So Be Real is a new social media platform where there will be a ding at a certain time, and you will then have to open up your phone, and you have like 3 minutes or 5 minutes, and you take a picture, and the picture is going to be of your front. It's going to use your front camera and your back camera. And it's just going to show whatever is showing in the front and back at the same time in that moment. It posts and that's it. And you're showing your friends what's happening in the here and now. So it's called Be Real. TikTok has a new feature that's called TikTok Now. So they're integrating that. I think Instagram is integrating this if it's not already live. I just haven't used it yet. But I do think that more consumers are going to use this to connect with friends. And I think it's a fun way for brands to use the technology that consumers are already using to connect with their consumers. You might feel like, oh, it's silly. Why would I take a picture of that? But like if you're in your store and you are in your back room and you have like 25 boxes that just came in that you are pulling merchandise out of and stocking shelves, and take a picture of that. Like you might be vacuuming and it's like, okay, now it's time for me to do the picture. Like do the picture. It's in the moment, it's real life stuff. People like the relatable behind the scenes things. I can't stress enough that content works. It works. So I think we're going to see more of that. I think these apps are going to be emphasizing it more, and more brands will use it as well. My 9th tip is emphasis on customer service. I think that small businesses will be using social media, these virtual tools and digital tools, to connect from a customer service level and ideally take some of the workload off of them through automation. So setting up some chatbots in their Facebook Messenger and Instagram DMs that automatically will answer some of the commonly asked questions. So if you aren't, managing your Instagram account at 9 p.m. at night, but your customer is shopping and they have a question about what time you open tomorrow, they can just ask the bot and it can deliver those questions or those answers. If they have a question about refunds, if they have a question about, products you sell or carriers or, areas you service or whatever it may be that relates to your business, those FAQs, typically you can, it's the same response. It's a canned response. So it's the same answer. So you can load those into these chatbots and it can automatically give you your customers that information. Some of these platforms, you could just do it directly through the platforms. ManyChat.com can also create that kind of back and forth conversation. So if somebody says if you're like, what can I help you with? And you have 3 buttons. So you prompt them to choose and then they choose on whatever button, boom, it can deliver the message. or it can also take them to 3 more buttons to help define what their question is, so the bot can automatically answer it. Obviously, it's not going to be able to answer everything. And so that's where you want to make sure that you're saying how often you check that inbox so you can just manage expectations. So if you're like, we check this every day, we'll respond within 24 hours. Great. That creates some customer confidence. And they're expecting that. So make sure that you respond within those 24 hours. If it's a platform you don't use very often, or you're just like really having a hard time finding help and you just find yourself really struggling to get around to answering the Facebook messages you get from customers, I would encourage them to call the store. Is that the fastest way for you to help? We check this inbox rarely. Please email or call us. What's going to be the best path for the customer to take to get support? But I think we'll be using more of these tools for that support. Also, even just like in comments on posts, I think we'll see more people asking questions about products because they're going to be shopping on social media. So they're immediately going to ask questions where they are. You need to make sure that you're monitoring that and responding quickly. So we have great customer service. Can you also upsell? Can you gift wrap? Can you suggest other things that go great with what they're looking at? Can you add some just some great customer service with that? You absolutely can. And you should be focusing on that. Your team should be focusing on that. Don't just answer the question. How can you go above and beyond for the customer asking the question? How can you surprise and delight your customers through the customer service that you're doing on social media? And of course, in store too. Now, this is 30 minutes in already. I'm not going to keep going with my 11 more points that I have. That sounds like it's crazy town. So guess what? We've got a part 2. I will share my additional that these are more future thinking. These things are going to be happening, but and some sooner than later. Like ChatGPT is on my list. I talked about that last week. But I'm going to save this for part 2 podcast after next week's episode, my interview with Pink Olive. So be sure to listen to that episode. I love my conversation with Grace. You're going to love Grace. You're probably going to be like me and want to be Grace's best friend. And we're all going to want to be Grace's best friend. So she's got great wisdom. But I would love to know from this episode, what's the one thing out of these 9 that you're going to focus on? You might say like, I'm actually doing a lot of these things and we're going to keep doing a lot of these things, but I'm going to have the biggest focus on what? Is it the video content? Is it TikTok? Is it personalization through segmentation? Is it prioritizing your customer engagement? Is it personal branding? Is it emphasis on storytelling? What about emphasis on e-commerce? Social commerce? Emphasis on real-time marketing, in the moment marketing, or customer service? Let me know. You can go to my Instagram. I'm Crystal Vilkaitis, and DM me or leave a comment, or you can email me, cheers@crystaluncorked.com. If there is any episode topic that you would like to hear, do you have a question as it relates to entrepreneurship, building a business, teams, marketing, social media? I want to know. I want to answer your questions. So also send those to me and I would be happy to create an episode around it. All right. Be sure to watch Pink Olive's episode next week and have a wonderful week ahead. I'll see you on the next CU. Cheers. Hey, real quick, if you are a retail store owner, I would love to see you at Evolve. This is my in-person marketing conference happening April 26th and 27th, 2023 in Denver, Colorado at the Gaylord Rockies, which is a stunning venue. You get to spend 2 days with me and my team and keynote speakers, as well as other retailers looking to evolve their marketing, business, and lives. It's an intimate event. We only have 200 tickets available, and we've already sold a lot of those seats already. So this event will sell out. Do not delay because we have special pricing depending on when you hear this and when you sign up. And I would love to see you in that room. So go to crystalmediaco.com/evolve. That's crystalmediaco.com/evolve to get your ticket. And I would love to see you there. And thank you for listening to this episode. Bye.